Welcome back, everybody. So President Biden's agenda a little bit in jeopardy as the debt ceiling battle looms. Biden yesterday signing into law a bill raising the nation's debt limit until early December. Gives him a little time. Joining me now is Fox News contributor and former White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Karl Rove. Karl, always great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with this Politico headline, right? White House banking on another McConnell retreat over the debt ceiling. That, quote, there is confidence inside the West Wing that the next standoff slated for December will end in a deal with Republicans like the last one did. Well, I think about the last time, Karl, and I think about this time, and I'm thinking things are a little bit different. Right? This time, you've got a government and administration running around spending money like drunken sailors with stolen credit cards. McConnell has sort of dug his heels in and said, we're not doing it. If the West Wing is counting on him, it feels like they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to pass over the fact that you insulted drunken sailors by comparing the Democrats to them. That's an insult to the drunken sailors. Let's think about this. There are, in order to get the debt ceiling, there are three ways to do it. Get 10 Republicans to vote to proceed with the issue, which is what McConnell delivered last time. But he made it clear, I'm doing this one time and one time only, and for a short period of time, you got to get your act together. Second, unanimous consent to proceed. And there are a number of Republicans who say, we're never going to give unanimous consent to. One member is going to stand up and say, no unanimous consent to proceed. But they can use budget reconciliation. All it requires is a majority in the House and 50 Democrats in the Senate, with Kamala Harris breaking the tie in order to pass it by budget reconciliation. But they don't want to use that. The Democrats won't want to use it. Why? Because it allows, under the rules of reconciliation, the Republicans can offer floor amendments that say this money needs to not be spent, or this money can be only spent in this particular way. And they don't want, the Democrats don't want their members to have to vote for these amendments, or vote for or against these amendments, because some of them are going to be popular votes that Democrats are going to want to vote for to go back home and get reelected. And if they do it in the Senate, they then have to pass that measure back through the House, which means it's taken up time. Now, what does time mean? Why is that important?
Time is money.
Well, time is also politics. The President of the United States, for reasons that are beyond me, says by December 3rd, 48 days from now, he wants the Congress to raise the debt ceiling, which they have to do, to fund the government, which they have to do, because December 3rd is also the day that the continuing resolution that funds the government it runs out. He wants them to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill, but only after they passed his $5.5 trillion welfare state expansion.
Yeah.
Now, that's 48 days.
I'm looking at that list, Karl, and I'm like, if I was him, I'd be stressed out. That's like a lot to do in a short time.
Well, it is impossible. And remember, he's got 14 days of weekends, so it's 34 days. He's got the Thanksgiving holiday, which leaves 31 days. And remember, during this period of time, there is a 13-day-long United Nations climate conference that he's going to take a bunch of his administration to, maybe not for 13 days, but for a number of those days. This is going to be a train wreck of a massive proportion, and as a result, we're likely to only end up getting maybe the government funded and maybe the debt ceiling funded, and even then it's going to be problematic because the Democrats are going to play chicken. Rather than use reconciliation and force themselves to get it done, they're going to try and force McConnell. And he said to them, I did this once. And particularly when Chuck Schumer got up the next day and kicked him in the teeth on the floor of the Senate with him sitting 5 feet away, the McConnell's not going to be inclined to give him another chance.
Wow, Karl, that was a lot to take in. I just want to do 30 seconds with you. That's all I've got left, and talk about the op-ed in the Wall Street Journal. The Democrats tax the rich ruse, right? If they want to actually reform the tax code, close the loopholes, I'm not saying there's not any cheating. There might be some, but it's not all cheating. And you've got a lot of the rich who are paying their fair share. And then you're going to take this new tax policy and essentially attack the middle class.
Yeah, absolutely. Phil Gramm and Mike Solon wrote a brilliant piece in the Journal today pointing out that America's top 10% pay a higher percentage of the total income tax burden than do the top 10% in countries like Sweden and France. And so, yeah, absolutely. In order to get what they got to get for the revenue for their big welfare state expansion, they can't just do it on the top 1% or even the top 10%. We're all going to get stuck down the line as well.
Yes, Sweden, where everybody points to as the model, saying that the democratic socialism there works and we should do it here. Karl, I don't think so. Good to see you.